Picture this. You're sitting on your favorite comfortable sofa.
Oh, yeah, the really nice soft one.
Right. And you've got a warm cup of tea or maybe a coffee in your hands.
Yeah.
And you are watching a really great movie in English. But tonight, you decide to do something brave.
I think I know where this is going.
You reach for the remote and you turn the subtitles off.
Oh, wow. That is a big step. Takes a lot of courage to turn those off.
It really does. But here's the amazing thing. You're watching the movie and you actually understand it.
Yeah.
Like, you understand the jokes, you understand the story.
Right.
The actors are speaking so fast, but your brain is actually catching the words. You feel so good. You sit back and think to yourself, like, wow, my English is actually getting really good.
It is the best feeling in the world. I mean, you feel like all your hard work is finally paying off.
Exactly. It's magic. But then the movie ends.
Okay.
You put your shoes on and you go outside to the store to buy some milk. And while you're walking, a stranger looks at you. They walk right up to you and ask a very, very simple question in English. Maybe they just ask, excuse me, where's the train station?
Just a totally basic, simple question.
Right, a question that you learn in your very first month of English class.
Yeah.
But suddenly your heart starts beating so fast, your mouth gets totally dry. Your hands might even shake a little bit.
Oh, I know that feeling.
You open your mouth to answer them and nothing comes out. You just completely freeze.
It's like your mind just goes totally blank. The whole world spins a little bit.
Yes, blank. All those big, beautiful English words you knew just 5 minutes ago while watching the movie,
Go on.
they completely disappear. You stand there looking at the stranger and you can only say like, train, go left.
Yeah.
And then you walk away feeling so embarrassed. You feel like you completely failed.
And you probably ask yourself, like, what is wrong with me? Why can I understand a whole movie, but I can't even answer a simple question?
Exactly. So if the story sounds familiar, if this happens to you, I want to talk directly to you right now. I want you to hear this loud and clear from both of us. It is completely normal.
Absolutely normal.
You are not bad at English. You are not failing. You aren't untalented. This exact freeze, it happens to almost everyone who learns a new language.
It really does. It's actually one of the most common things we see in language learning. I mean, I've felt it myself when I tried learning a second language. You feel like you literally have two different brains.
Okay, let's unpack this, because
Okay.
that is exactly why we're here today. The mission of our deep dive today is to explore a really wonderful study guide about overcoming this exact problem.
Right.
In the English teaching world, we call this the silent gap.
The silent gap.
Yeah, it's that huge, frustrating, empty space between understanding English and actually speaking it. And we have a lot of great notes and research from our sources to share with you today.
And let me add something very important for our listener right now.
Please do.
Today, we are not going to talk about confusing grammar rules. We aren't going to give you a test on verb tenses or anything like that.
Thank goodness.
Right.
Right.
We're going to look at how your brain actually works when you learn a language. And most importantly, we're going to give you 5 simple personal tips that you can use to start speaking today.
I love that.
Just easy, practical things you can do in your own home.
Perfect. But before we jump into the first big idea, let's set a ground rule for our conversation today.
Okay.
We promise to keep everything simple and clear. No big, confusing dictionary words. If we use a difficult word, we will explain it. By the end of this deep dive, you are going to feel safe, you are going to understand your own brain, and you'll feel really excited to open your mouth and speak.
I love that goal. Let's get right into the science of this silent gap then.
Let's do it.
You need to answer the big question. Why do you understand everything, but you can't speak? Now that you know you're safe, and this is a normal feeling, we really have to look at the biology. Because as our sources explain, this is not a personal flaw.
Oh.
You aren't doing anything wrong. It's just human science.
So if it's just science, what is actually happening in our heads?
To start, we have to understand that understanding English and speaking English are 2 totally different tasks for the body.
2 different tasks. Okay.
Yeah, they use 2 completely different parts of your brain. And because they use different parts of the brain, those parts grow and get strong at very different speeds.
This study guide gives us a really great way to think about this. It uses driving a car as an analogy.
Oh, I love this one.
Let's talk about that because it makes perfect sense. Imagine you want to learn how to drive a car. How do you start? Well, you can watch videos about driving for months. You can read the rule book. You can learn exactly how the engine works, where the brake is, where the gas pedal is, and where the steering wheel is.
Right. You can sit in your bedroom and just memorize every single rule of the road. You can pass a written test with a perfect score. You have all the knowledge in the world.
Yes. But what happens on the very first day you actually sit behind the steering wheel of a real car, on a real road, with real traffic?
Oh, you're going to be terrified.
Right.
Your hands will shake. You'll probably sweat. You might accidentally press the gas instead of the brake.
Wait, but why? Like, if I read the book for 6 months and I know all the rules, shouldn't I be a perfect driver on day one?
Not at all, because knowing how a car works is not the same as actually driving it.
Right.
Knowing the rules in your head is just knowledge. Driving the heavy car on a busy road is performance.
Knowledge versus performance.
Exactly. They're totally different things. Your hands and your feet, they haven't practiced the performance yet.
I see. So knowledge is what is in my head, and performance is what my body actually does.
Right.
So how does this connect to our listener who just wants to speak English?
It means we have to look at language exactly the same way. Listening to English and reading English, like watching that movie or reading a book, that is just recognition.
Recognition, meaning just recognizing something.
Yes. Recognition means you see a word or you hear a word, and your brain simply says, ah, I know that word. I've seen it before.
Oh, okay.
It's a very fast, very easy process for the brain. It does not take a lot of energy.
Right, like sitting on the sidewalk and watching cars drive by. You can point and say, that's a red car. That's a truck. It's easy.
Exactly. But speaking is completely different. Speaking isn't recognition. Speaking is creation.
Creation.
You aren't just recognizing a word that someone else made. You have to build the sentence yourself from nothing.
And you have to do it fast, right?
Very fast.
Yeah.
You have to build the language instantly. You're under pressure in a real conversation. While you stand there, your brain has to think about how the word sounds. It has to think about the grammar rules. It has to control the physical muscles in your mouth. And it has to listen to what the other person is saying all at the exact same time.
Oh, wow.
It is a massive amount of hard work for your brain.
It sounds exhausting when you explain it like that.
Mm-hmm.
No wonder we freeze at the train station. Our brain is trying to do 100 things at once.
Exactly.
And this brings us to a really big, important reveal from our sources. It's the difference between your passive vocabulary and your active vocabulary.
This is probably the most important idea for learners to understand. I mean, once you get this, you will stop being so hard on yourself.
Let's break it down simply. Passive vocabulary means all the words you know when you watch Netflix or read a book.
Mm-hmm.
You don't use these words when you talk, but you understand them perfectly when you see them. Our sources give a great example. Think of the sentence, the meeting has been postponed.
Now, when you hear the word postponed, your brain easily recognizes it. You know it means delayed or moved to a later time. You understand the message immediately.
Right. Or another example from the text, she was absolutely exhausted.
Yeah, that's a good one.
When you read the word exhausted in a story, you know it means very, very tired. You don't need a dictionary. But think about your own daily life. When your friend asks you, how is work today? Do you actually say, I'm exhausted?
Probably not. Most learners won't use that big word. You'll probably just say, I'm very, very tired.
Yes. You use tired because tired is in your active vocabulary.
Exactly.
Active vocabulary means the words that come out of your mouth instantly. You don't have to think about them. You don't have to translate them. Words like I'm hungry or I'm tired or let's go or thank you, they just fly out of your mouth.
What's fascinating here is the math behind this.
The math.
Yeah, if we look at the numbers, it explains everything. Think about how you spend your time practicing English. Over the last year, maybe you have read 20,000 sentences in English.
Wow. Okay.
You listened to podcasts, you read news articles, you watched lots of movies. 20,000 sentences went into your brain. But how many sentences have you actually spoken out loud to another human being?
Oh, wow. If I'm just studying at home alone, maybe only 500. Maybe even less.
Exactly. So you read 20,000, but you only speak 500. Imagine you go to the gym every single day.
Okay, I'm at the gym.
But you only lift weights with your right arm. You lift weights with your right arm 20,000 times. And you only lift weights with your left arm 500 times. What's going to happen to your body?
That's easy. My right arm is going to get super big and strong, and my left arm is going to stay very weak and small.
That is exactly what is happening inside your head. Your listening muscles, your right arm, are getting super strong. But your speaking muscles, your left arm, or staying weak.
That makes total sense.
It's just simple math. You aren't failing. It's not because you're bad at learning. You just haven't exercised the speaking muscle enough.
I really love that gym analogy. It makes so much sense. I want to share another great analogy from the sources that talks about this same feeling. It's about famous actors.
Oh, this one is very relatable.
Right. So imagine I show you a picture of a very famous actor, let's say Tom Cruise or Brad Pitt.
Okay.
You look at the picture and you instantly say, oh, yes, I know him. That's Tom Cruise. That's very easy to do, isn't it?
Very easy. Because you're just using recognition. The picture is already there. Your brain just has to match it.
Exactly. But now imagine I take the picture away, I put a timer on the table, and I say to you, okay, you have 10 seconds. Name every single famous actor you know. Go.
Oh, I'd panic. That is so hard.
Right.
My brain would totally freeze. Even though I have seen hundreds of movies, I would maybe remember 3 names and then I'd just stare at you.
Exactly. The names are in your brain. You know them. If I said the names, you'd recognize them. But asking your brain to search, find them, and pull them out of your memory in less than 1 second is incredibly hard work. Speaking English is exactly like that actor game. When you listen to English, your brain just says, do I recognize this word? But when you speak English, your brain is saying, quick, find the perfect word in less than 1 second.
And this is a completely natural, biological human process. We can even prove it by looking at babies. If you want to understand language, just look at how a baby learns their very first language.
Wait, but babies don't study grammar books. How does that connect to us?
Think about it. Long before a baby can say a single word, they understand so much of what you say. A mother can look at her 1-year-old baby and say, come here, or it's time to eat, or give me the red ball.
And the baby actually does it. The baby walks over or gives the mother the ball. They understand the words perfectly.
Yes. The baby understands hundreds of commands and words for many months before they can actually speak a full sentence themselves.
Yeah.
In human biology, understanding always comes first. Speaking always comes later. It's a law of nature. But as adult learners, we forget this completely. We get so angry at ourselves because we can't speak perfectly on day 1.
We really are so hard on ourselves. We expect to be perfect adults in our second language immediately.
We do.
So, to wrap up this first big idea, I want to give the listener a very clear mental picture to hold on to. Imagine your brain is a giant, beautiful library. It's full of thousands and thousands of books.
Your passive vocabulary.
Right. Your passive vocabulary is all those books sitting quietly on the shelves. You have thousands of them. You know where they are. But your active vocabulary, those are just the few books that are already sitting open right in front of you on your desk.
You don't have to search for them. They're ready to read.
Exactly. When you're standing at the train station trying to answer a stranger, you don't have time to run to the back of the library, search the dark shelf, find the perfect book, and bring it all the way back to the front.
A stranger will walk away.
Yes. You can only use the books that are already open on your desk.
So true.
So our main goal today isn't to get more books for your library. You already have enough books on the shelves to have a great conversation. Our goal is to simply learn how to move more books from those dusty shelves and put them permanently on your active desk.
That is a perfect summary. So now that we know what the problem is, this natural difference between active and passive vocabulary, we need to talk about what is actually stopping you from fixing it.
Right.
Why are those books stuck on the shelf? What is standing in your way?
That brings us to our next big discussion from the study guide. The 3 culprits holding you back.
Yes.
A culprit is like a guilty person or a problem. Let's look at the 3 big roadblocks on your English journey. Culprit number 1 is a massive one. It is the fear of making mistakes.
This is huge. In my experience, this might be the single biggest obstacle in learning any language. It's not grammar, it's fear.
It is so scary to speak a new language out loud. You open your mouth and you feel like everyone in the room is watching you. People worry about so many things. They worry that native speakers will laugh at them. They worry people will judge their accent and think it sounds funny. They worry people will think they aren't smart because they talk so slowly.
It's a very vulnerable feeling. You feel like a child again. But we really need a reality check here. We need to look at the honest truth. Do you know what most native English speakers actually think when you, a learner, try to speak English to them?
I think we always assume they're annoyed. But what do they actually think?
They're mostly just happy you're trying.
Really?
They're impressed. Think about it. Native English speakers know that learning a second language is incredibly hard. Many of them only speak one language. So when you try to speak their language, they don't care about your small grammar mistakes. They really don't. They just want to connect with you and understand your message.
That's so true. I know when someone tries to speak my native language, I'm just thrilled they're trying.
Exactly.
But because we feel so afraid of looking silly, we do something really bad for our progress. The sources talk about a concept from psychology called avoidance.
Avoidance is a very simple but dangerous idea. It means when you're afraid of something, you run away from it. You avoid it. If you're afraid of dogs, you don't go to the park.
Right.
But here's the trick the brain plays on you. The more you run away from something, the scarier it gets.
So if you're afraid to speak English, you decide to stay quiet in meetings. Because you stay quiet, you don't practice. Because I don't practice, you don't get any better. And because you don't get better, you feel even more afraid to speak the next time. It's a terrible trap.
It is a cycle that feeds itself. You have to break the cycle by doing the scary thing.
Let me give you another analogy to explain why this fear is so damaging. Imagine someone is trying to learn how to play basketball.
Okay, basketball.
They buy the shoes, they get a ball, and they walk onto the court. But they say, I will only throw the ball if I'm 100% sure it's going to go in the basket. I never, ever want to miss a shot because I'll look foolish.
That's impossible. You can't play basketball like that. Even professional players miss half their shots.
Exactly. You have to miss shots. Missing shots is the only way you learn how to shoot.
Right.
Every time you throw the ball and miss the basket, your brain gets new information. Your brain says, okay, that was too short. Throw it a little higher next time.
Yeah.
Every missed shot is feedback. And in English, every language mistake is feedback. If you don't make mistakes, you aren't learning.
That is a brilliant way to see it. A mistake isn't a failure, it's just feedback for your brain. Okay, let's look at culprit number 2. This is called the input-output imbalance.
The input-output imbalance. Let's break those words down. Think about what a normal English learner does every single day to practice.
Okay.
They watch English YouTube videos, they read English books or news articles, they play matching games on language apps on their phone.
And we should say all of those things are great. They're very helpful for building the library.
Yes, they're great, but they are all input. Input means information is coming into your brain from the outside. You're receiving it, you're absorbing it.
Right.
But speaking is output. You're creating it and pushing it out of your brain. Speaking is a physical skill. It uses muscles in your throat, your mouth, your tongue, your breathing. It's physical, like swimming.
I like the swimming comparison.
Right. You can watch 100 hours of Olympic swimming videos on YouTube. You can memorize all the arm movements. But you can't learn to actually swim by watching a video.
No, you can't.
If someone throws you in a deep pool, you are going to sink. You have to get in the water and physically practice moving your arms.
The study guide gives us a really helpful picture for this input-output problem, too. It's called the bucket analogy.
The bucket analogy.
Yeah. Imagine you have a big plastic bucket for water. Input, reading and listening, is like pouring fresh water into the top of the bucket. Output, speaking and writing, is like opening a little tap at the bottom to let the water flow out.
So if you spend 95% of your study time watching videos and reading articles, you're just pouring more and more water into the bucket.
Yes. And if you only spend 5% of your time actually speaking out loud, you're barely opening the tap at the bottom.
Wow.
The tap gets rusty. If you never open the cap, you never learn how to control the flow of the water. The water just sits there, filling up the bucket until it overflows.
That's exactly what the silent gap is. It's a completely full bucket with a closed, rusty tap. You have all the water you need. You just have to practice opening the tap.
Which leads us perfectly to culprit number 3.
Yeah.
And this one happens silently inside your head every single time you try to speak. It is a huge habit to break. It is translating everything in your head.
Here's where it gets really interesting. Because we all do this. Let's look at what actually happens in your brain during a real, live conversation when you try to translate.
Okay.
Imagine you're at work. A friendly colleague walks up to you at the coffee machine and says, "Hey, what did you do this weekend?"
It's such a simple question.
Yeah.
But if you have the habit of translating, your brain starts a very long, very slow process. Let's walk through the steps of what the translating brain does.
Step 1. Your brain hears the English, and it immediately translates the question into your native language just to understand it.
Right.
Step 2, you think of your answer in your native language. You think, I went to the park with my dog.
Okay. Still in your native language.
Step 3, your brain says, okay, now I need English grammar. It was in the past, so I need past tense.
We are already taking too much time, and we aren't done yet.
Not even close. Step 4, your brain searches the library for the right English vocabulary words to match your native words.
Wow.
Step 5, you check the pronunciation in your head so you don't sound silly. Step 6, you build the English sentence in your mind. And finally, step 7, you open your mouth to speak the words.
But here's the sad reality. By the time you reach step 7, the conversation is already over.
It is.
Your colleague is already walking away to their desk, or the topic of conversation is completely changed. The 7-step process is just too slow for human conversation.
It's painfully slow. When you translate, you're adding so many extra unnecessary steps. You're doing double the work of a normal speaker.
This is why our sources say we absolutely must learn to skip translation. We have to build direct connections in our brain.
Direct connections.
Let me explain what I mean by a direct connection. When you look at a dog walking down the street, you shouldn't think of the word for dog in your native language and then translate it to the English word dog.
Right.
You should train your brain to just look at the animal, see the fur and the tail, and immediately think the English word dog.
But wait, I have to push back here. How do we actually do that? It feels impossible to just stop translating. My brain does it automatically.
It's hard at first.
Yeah.
It takes time. You start very small. You start by looking around your room and thinking in single English words. Chair, window.
Just single word.
Then after a few weeks, you move to short phrases. Red chair, open window, then full sentences. But you have to practice pulling English words directly from your brain without using your native language as a bridge. You have to burn the bridge.
Okay, so we know our 3 big roadblocks now. We know we're afraid of making mistakes. We know our bucket has too much input and not enough output. And we know our brain translates too slowly.
Exactly.
So how do we actually drive past these roadblocks, knowing the problem isn't the same as solving it?
You're exactly right. We need real tools. It's time to talk about actionable fixes.
Yes.
Our study guide provides 5 practical, everyday exercises to fix these exact problems. You could start using these today. You don't need a teacher, and you don't need money.
I'm so excited for this part. Exercise number 1 is my absolute favorite technique in the world. It is called the shadowing technique.
Shadowing is a wonderful trick. It directly attacks the input-output problem. It trains your mouth, your tongue, and your brain to work together at the same time.
Let's show the listener exactly how this works rather than just talking about it. We're going to do a little role play.
Sounds fun.
I'll be the native speaker in a podcast or a YouTube video, and you, my friend, will shadow me.
I'm ready. My job is to repeat what you say, exactly how you say it, almost at the same time. I'm going to be your shadow.
Here we go. Listen to my emotion, my speed, and my pauses.
I usually wake up around 7, but today I was super tired.
I usually wake up around 7, but today I was super tired.
That was great. Let's do it again a little faster. I usually wake up around 7, but today I was super tired.
I usually wake up around 7, but today I was super tired.
See? Notice how you didn't just repeat the dead words. You matched my rhythm. You matched my tone of voice. You paused exactly where I paused. That's what shadowing is. You're copying the music of the language.
It feels like singing along to a song on the radio.
Yes.
When you sing along in your car, you don't have to write the lyrics. You don't have to think about the musical notes. You just follow the singer's voice and let your mouth do the work. Yes. For the listener, here is how you can do this at home. Pick a short English audio clip, maybe just 30 seconds or 60 seconds from a podcast or a video. Make sure it's someone who speaks clearly.
Very important.
First, listen to it once or twice just to understand the meaning. Then, play it again and speak out loud with them. Repeat their sentences immediately. Do it over and over again until your mouth feels comfortable making those specific sounds.
This is so powerful because it completely skips the translation step we talked about earlier.
Right, no translating.
You aren't thinking about grammar rules. You're just feeling the rhythm of the English language in your physical mouth. It builds that muscle memory.
Okay, moving on to exercise number 2. Talk to yourself. Now, I have to admit, when I first tried this, it felt a little silly.
It definitely feels strange to walk around talking to an empty room.
It does. But it is the safest way to practice in the world. Think about it. Culprit number 1 was the terrible fear of making mistakes in front of people, right?
Right.
Well, if you're alone in your kitchen, no one is listening. There's zero judgment. You can't be embarrassed because no one is there.
So how does a learner actually do this? What should they talk about?
Anything. Just describe your daily life out loud as it happens. Tell yourself what you're doing. For example, if you're in the kitchen making breakfast, literally say out loud, "I'm making coffee. I need a cup. The water is hot."
Okay.
When you get dressed for work, say, "I'm putting on my blue shoes. I need my jacket." If you look out the window, say, it's raining today, the sky is dark.
What you're doing here is forcing your brain to pull those passive words from the library shelf and put them on your active desk. And you're doing it without the pressure of another person waiting for an answer.
Exactly. I want to give the listener a challenge right now. Tomorrow morning, when you wake up, set a timer on your phone for just 2 minutes.
Just 2 minutes.
For those 2 minutes, just describe what you're doing out loud in English. Do not use a single word of your native language, just 2 minutes of continuous English talking. You will be surprised how much it helps wake up your English brain.
That is a great, simple challenge. Let's step it up a bit with exercise number 3, the 30-second speaking challenge.
Ooh, I like a challenge. How is this different from talking to yourself?
For this one, you pick a specific, simple topic. It doesn't have to be a complicated political debate. Just something like my family or my morning routine or my favorite movie.
Okay.
Then you start a timer and you speak out loud about that topic for 30 seconds straight.
Wait, just nonstop talking for 30 seconds? That sounds a little scary for a beginner. What if I get stuck?
That's the best part. Here is the crucial tip from our source material. This is the most important rule of the game. If you forget a word while you're talking, do not stop.
But wait, I'm confused. What if I genuinely just don't know the word? Like, if my mind is totally empty, how can I possibly keep talking for 30 seconds without stopping?
That is exactly the skill you're practicing. When you forget a word, don't stop and say, oh, I don't know the word in English. You have to describe it. You have to talk around the missing word using words you already know.
Can we do an example? Let's say my topic is weather, and I completely forget the word umbrella. What do I do?
Don't stop talking. Just describe the umbrella. Say, I need to buy that thing, the thing you hold over your head to stay dry when water falls from the sky.
Oh, I see. Even though I didn't say umbrella, the other person will understand exactly what I mean.
Exactly. The goal of language is communication, not perfection. Real conversations don't stop when someone forgets a word. Even native speakers forget words.
We do it all the time.
You have to learn how to survive and keep the conversation moving when you don't have the perfect dictionary vocabulary in your head.
That is such a valuable skill to learn. It builds so much confidence. Okay, let's talk about exercise number 4. Retell what you heard.
This one connects perfectly to our input and output bucket problem. It's about turning water coming into water going out.
Yes. We all watch YouTube videos or listen to podcasts for input. So the next time you watch a short video in English, I want you to try a new habit. When the video is over, don't just click the next video.
Right, don't just keep scrolling.
Turn your phone off. Then imagine a friend is sitting next to you on the sofa. Summarize the video out loud to your imaginary friend. Explain what you just watched.
Let's give a clear example of how this sounds.
Okay, let's say you just watched a 5-minute video about staying healthy. You turn off the screen and you say out loud, I just watched a video about health. The speaker said sleep is very important for the brain, and he said we need to drink a lot of water every day to have energy.
It sounds so simple, but let's think about what your brain is actually doing during that exercise.
Your brain is taking the input you just received, and it's immediately forcing it into output.
Yes.
It forces your brain to grab those fresh words and grammar structures while they're still echoing in your mind and push them out through your mouth.
It closes the loop. You aren't just letting the water sit in the bucket. You're opening the tap immediately. Now we have one more fix. Exercise number 5. Record yourself and reflect.
If we connect this to the bigger picture of language learning English is a very long journey. It takes years, and sometimes it feels like we aren't improving at all. We feel stuck in the exact same place. It can feel very discouraging.
Because you don't hear your own progress day by day. When you look in the mirror every single morning, you don't notice yourself getting older. The changes are too small. Language is the same way.
Right. So here is the tip to prove to yourself that you're growing. Every Sunday evening, take out your phone, open the basic voice recorder app, hit record, and just answer one simple question out loud. What did I do this week?
Just that.
Just talk to the phone for 1 or 2 minutes. Tell your phone about your week. Then save the recording with the date.
Then what? You just leave it on your phone?
No. Then a month later, or maybe 2 months later, you go back and listen to your old recordings. You listen to September's recording in November, and you ask yourself, am I pausing less today than I was back then? Do I sound a bit more confident now? Am I using new words today?
The most important rule here, though, is this. Compare yourself only to your past self. Never, ever compare your recording to a native speaker.
Never. That is a game you will always lose. A native speaker has had 30 years of practice. But when you listen to your own recording from last month and you hear that you're speaking just a little bit faster today or with a little more confidence, wow, that gives you so much motivation to keep studying.
It is pure proof. It proves that all your hard work in the kitchen and in the car is actually paying off.
Okay, we've covered the 5 exercises. Now we're moving into the final part of our deep dive, bonus habits and the mental shift. We have these great exercises, but what are some small daily habits we can use to make these exercises work even faster?
The study guide gives us some excellent daily habits to build into our routine. The first one is about how we memorize new vocabulary. It says we should build sentence banks, not just lists of single words.
I used to do this wrong all the time when I studied languages. I'd have a notebook and I'd write down one single word on a line, like the word schedule, and I'd just stare at it and try to memorize it. Schedule, schedule, schedule.
And why doesn't that work when you actually need to speak?
Because in a real conversation with a real person, you don't just shout the word schedule.
No, you don't.
You have to use grammar around it. You have to build the whole sentence. If you only learn the single word, your brain has to stop and build the sentence from scratch. It takes too much time. So the better habit is to learn chunks or full phrases. Don't learn the word schedule, learn the full phrase, I have a busy schedule.
I have a busy schedule. When you learn it that way, your brain remembers it as one single piece of information. It is a pre-built block.
Yeah.
So when someone asks you, can we meet for coffee tomorrow? You don't have to build a sentence word by word. You just pull out the complete chunk. Sorry, I have a busy schedule.
Yeah.
It becomes automatic.
It makes speaking so much faster and smoother. Another great habit from the guide is using context when you write notes.
Context.
When you learn a new word, don't just write down the translation in your native language. Write down what it means in English. Write down an example sentence from the dictionary, and then this is the secret trick. Write down a sentence about your own personal life using that new word.
Make it deeply personal to your reality.
Yes. If the new word is exhausted, don't just write very tired. Write a sentence about yourself. I'm exhausted after I play football on Friday nights. Or, I'm exhausted when my baby cries all night.
Oh, I like that.
Your brain loves personal connections. It remembers things that matter to your life. It will remember that word so much better because it's attached to a real memory.
And the final bonus habit is incredibly simple, but very effective. Read out loud, just for 5 minutes a day. Take a book or an article or even a post on social media and read the English out loud.
Wait, how does that help me speak? I'm just reading someone else's words.
It goes back to training the physical muscles we talked about. When you read out loud, you're practicing the natural rhythm of English. You're practicing the physical movements of your mouth, your lips, and your tongue.
Ah, I see.
The beauty of it is that you don't have to think about grammar or vocabulary because the words are already provided for you on the page. You just get to practice the pure physical act of speaking English. It builds so much confidence in your voice.
I love that. Just 5 minutes a day to exercise the mouth muscles. Now, before we finish our deep dive today, I want to do something a little different. I want to read a sort of open letter to you, the listener. We call this the mental shift.
This might be the most important part of our entire conversation today.
Take a deep breath. Wherever you are right now, whether you're driving or cleaning or just sitting, just listen to my voice. You aren't failing because you hesitate when you speak. You aren't behind because you make mistakes. I want you to know that every single fluent English speaker that you admire was once a beginner. Every confident speaker has forgotten words. They've mixed up their grammar. They've stood at a train station feeling nervous and embarrassed.
The only difference between them and someone who quits isn't that they never made mistakes. The difference is that they felt the embarrassment and they kept speaking anyway.
Exactly. Language is just a tool. It is a bridge to connect with other human beings. It is not a school test where you get a grade. Think about little children learning to speak again. When a child says a word wrong, they don't cry and stop talking forever.
No, they don't.
They laugh, they experiment with the sounds, and they try again the next day. You're an adult, but you deserve to give yourself that exact same permission to play and fail.
So stop waiting until you feel 100% perfectly ready.
Yes, that's the illusion. Progress doesn't come from waiting until you're perfectly ready. Progress comes from opening your mouth and speaking before you feel ready. Every mistake you make is just helpful feedback for tomorrow. Every single broken sentence is a step forward.
That is a wonderful, necessary mental shift for any learner.
We've covered a lot of ground today. Let's do a final quick recap. What is the core message we really want the listener to remember after they turn this off?
The core message is this. If you find that you understand way more English than you can speak, that isn't a weakness. It's actually a wonderful sign that you have built a very strong, solid foundation. Your bucket is completely full of water. Now it's just time to turn the rusty tap and let the water flow.
Turn the tap. Speak imperfectly. Don't worry about the grammar. Record yourself on Sundays. Shadow native speakers on YouTube. Talk to yourself in the kitchen while making coffee. Just turn the tap.
I want to leave you with one final, original thought to take with you. Something to think about after we say goodbye.
Please share it with us.
Think about how you feel when a foreigner visits your home country and they try to speak your native language.
Okay.
Do you stand there with your arms crossed and judge their small grammar mistakes? Do you laugh at their accent in your head? No, of course not. You're probably just thrilled. You're touched that this stranger is making the brave effort to connect with your culture and with you.
That is so true. We love it when people try. It shows respect.
So here is my question for you to think about. If you are willing to give complete strangers that much grace and that much patience and that much kindness, why aren't you giving yourself that exact same grace when you try to speak English?
Wow. Be as kind to yourself as you are to a stranger. I think that is the perfect place to end. Well, thank you all for joining us on this deep dive today. We hope you feel a little lighter and a lot more confident. Remember, your English grows every single time you find the courage to open your mouth. Keep practicing, keep making those beautiful mistakes, and keep connecting with people. We'll see you next time.